Hi, I'm Derek Mooney and this is Read Right Now. This week we're talking about words and ways of learning, which is why I've come to Easton's on O'Connell Street to see what I can find.
Now, bookshops are great places to come if you want to improve your reading and writing. You're guaranteed to find something to interest you. From sports to history, and from romance to DIY.
This week, our learner George will be telling us how improving his reading and writing skills has helped him in other aspects of his life.
It's been great. It's opened my eyes and has helped me an awful lot and benefited me an awful lot with my life, my work, my hobbies.
Later in the programme, Terry's going to be talking to us about the different ways in which we choose to learn and how we learn. We'll have our usual learning points and practical tips on how to spell word endings, using a thesaurus to increase your word power, and playing with words in word puzzles.
George's main motivation for going back to education stemmed from a change in his job, where he was asked to help others with their reading and writing.
My reading and writing was okay, it was fairly good. I had no problem, I was fairly good in school. When I was working, reading and writing didn't come into it. I mean, it was basically labouring, working with my hands or driving skills that I did. I left school when I was about 14. And the skills have gone because I haven't been practicing them. When I started in the council, I was a handcart man, and we were allocated to one certain area, and then that changed. And when I changed over, I was meeting a situation where I was being bullied by a person that was in authority, and I didn't like it at all. And I approached this person. I said, I don't have to take this. I continued to walk along as I did, and another vacancy arose from it as driving, and it took me away from that person where I didn't have to deal with this person again. And then in 2000 they launched looking for designated contact people in South Dublin County Council to help people with problems if they're being bullied or harassed or sexually harassed in the workplace. There was 12 people selected as designated contact persons, and I was one of these people. At first, we used to just have to help people, make them aware of what the policy is, what procedure was, and how they go about procedure. They then brought it in that you might have some people that might have problems with their reading and writing, and they mightn't be able to do an informal complaint. So it was brought to the attention of the tutors, we could help them do a letter if we had no problem. So, meeting that scenario, I said to myself, I had a few problems with my writing and spelling that, God, I better get things right. So the opportunity arose that they advertised for a return to learning through the local authority, so I applied to that. I spoke to a tutor and told him what my needs were with my writing skills and reading skills and spelling skills, and also I want to develop communication skills, computer skills, and that's where I went then, got on board, and then did it for the last 3 years.
George's new job involves helping others to write letters. To do this, he has to make sure that his own spellings are correct. But spelling words in English can be quite difficult. For example, the shun sound is very common in English, but it isn't spelt the way it sounds. In fact, shun can be spelt in a number of ways. T-I-O-N in words such as collection and situation. S-I-O-N in words such as pension and version. And C-I-A-N in electrician and optician. So, how do you decide which spelling is correct? Well, it's a good idea to get to know what words look like so that when you're spelling them, you might be able to see if they look correct. In George's story, he talks about how being bullied at work was the motivation which made him become a contact person for people who feel bullied. Let's try to spell the word motivation. When we say motivation, we can hear that it has 4 beats or syllables, so we should spell each syllable. Mo is spelt M-O, tiv is spelt T-I-V, A is spelt A, and finally we have the ending, the shun sound. Now we have to decide between T-I-O-N, S-I-O-N and C-I-A-N. Let's try putting each one at the end of the word to see which one looks correct. If you have a picture of what the word is supposed to look like, you should remember the shape of the ending, with the letter T sticking up. So, the word motivation is spelt with the T-I-O-N ending. By learning how common word endings such as shun are spelt, and remembering how the words look when they're correctly spelt, you should find spelling much easier. All it takes is practice.
So word endings such as shun can be difficult to spell at first, but with practice you'll soon be able to spell them. Now Terry's gone off to Clonmel in County Tipperary to find out a little bit more about the ways in which we learn.
Thanks, Derek. This week I'm in Clonmel at Flacchiol na HÉireann, and we'll be looking at ways of learning, where and when you learn and how you learn.
This week's learner, George, wanted to focus on his spelling, and he found that he could do this best in a group. Group learning allows you to learn with others and from others and to benefit from the group experience. A lot of learners like this group support because they can feel that they're not alone.
Group learning can come in different shapes and forms. But learning in a group has its disadvantages. You have to go at the pace of the group and learn at the same time as everyone else.
Now we'll try the second part of the tune.
Another way of learning is with a tutor in a one-to-one situation. This is more private and it will go at the pace you need.
Now you play that.
Another alternative to group and one-to-one learning is distance learning.
This series is a distance education programme consisting of 12 television programmes, a learner workbook and a tutor support line. It's called distance learning because you're studying on your own and not with a tutor.
Some people prefer to learn through distance learning. It's private, you can go at your own pace, and you can learn as much as you want, whenever it suits you.
The group George now studies in is part of the Return to Learning initiative, where learners have the opportunity to study in their workplace.
The first year of the scheme, we started off, it was the pilot scheme, and it ran for 20 weeks, and the council, which was very good, gave us 4 hours every day during the working time, which means that we were real relaxed going and, you know, a wide awake going on these courses, that we were able to concentrate, which was great, you know, where it means we weren't so exhausted from working that we still had a bit of time in us, and it was within the 8 to 10 hours working day. So the second phase was 2 hours in our time and 2 hours on the council time. As soon as you start getting into it, a couple of weeks, it just start coming back to you. The reading and writing parts coming back and the spellings took a little bit more, but you got back into the swing of things, and the more you were doing it and the more you were writing, the better you were improving on it as we did more every week, reading and writing. With the writing skills and the reading skills and the spelling skills, especially for myself now involved in what I do with South Dublin County Council, with application forms, with letters, taking notes of things and all, now the confidence is there, you know, to no problem to put them into a diary, put them into a book and be able to take them out and read them, and then be able to show somebody and let them read them with confidence that my spelling is correct and my writing is neat and in between the lines.
I'm starving.
To bring out to me?
Yes. Well, I thought it was good because he could help me with my homework a lot, except the maths, but and he wouldn't be sitting, well, I get to sit on the couch all day and watch TV instead of him rowing, making pancakes, like rowing telling us to make pancakes or tea.
And to make pancakes for
And
supper.
I thought it was good because he'll know more than he does now.
When I told the wife and the kids that I was going back to return to learning to better my skills at writing and spelling, and told them what else was involved, computers and communication skills, they were 100% behind me. They backed me up an awful lot. Kieran, my eldest daughter, said, no problem, Dad, any help or hand you need, nothing, there's no problem, we'll be there. Margaret herself as well, the wife, she said it, and every morning that I was going to school on the Friday, out with the school bag, the old folder, Neve used to say, Dad, when you come home, I'll give you a hand with your homework. You know, so they backed me up 100% and they were fantastic with it, you know. Yeah, you all right?
Well, we had to make certain allowances for him, you know, in the line of homework and that, and thank God for dictionaries.
Great man.
Yeah.
Especially if you get a good one.
The three, the three of us used to sit around helping him, myself, Ciara and Neve. And as I say, we've all learned a lot as well over the last couple of years with him returning to school.
Because they were behind me 100%, it made me feel relaxed, able to focus and concentrate on anything that I had to do, and knowing then that I could come home, see them, and they'd ask me how I get on, what I did, and they were good, you know. Got a bit of slagging off them, and they gave me a few tests a couple of times, but otherwise they were good.
As George's confidence increases, his next step might be to increase his vocabulary. And to do this, he might find using a thesaurus a good idea. The word thesaurus comes from a Greek word meaning treasure, because it's like a treasure chest of new words. A thesaurus is a book that lists words in groups that mean the same thing. They're very useful for improving your writing because they allow you to use different words to express yourself. One good thing about using a thesaurus is that it's similar to a dictionary. George's wife Margaret talks about how useful dictionaries have been in helping with his spelling, so it should be easy enough for him to start using a thesaurus. Like a dictionary, words in a thesaurus are listed in alphabetical order. Earlier we heard George say he was starving. If we look up the word starving in the thesaurus, you can see that the other words that mean the same are hungry, famished, ravenous and starved. So if we wanted to, we could use these words instead of starving. But be careful, because sometimes the word suggested in a thesaurus may not mean exactly the same thing. If you're not sure of the exact meaning of a new word, remember to use a dictionary to check it out. Like most things, a thesaurus might take a little bit of practice to get used to. Soon there'll be no limit to the number of new words that you can use in your writing.
Once you begin to use a thesaurus, you'll be amazed at just how useful they are. There's an exercise on page 101 of the workbook if you need some practice.
As usual, you'll find more on everything we've covered in this week's programme in your copy of the Read Right Now workbook. It's free, so to order your copy, simply call 1800 20 20 65. The lines are open now. Now let's go back to Terry to find out more about how we learn.